This is Kyle from the Loaded Mag. Today I figured since it's starting to get nasty outside and nobody really wants to be out in the snow up here in Michigan, it's a good time to do a how-to video. Today I'm going to show you how to paint your AR-15. I have a rifle right here that has already been painted once and don't really like the way it turned out, so I'm going to go ahead and show you how to strip all the paint off, get it prepped, ready for new paint, and then actually lay some paint down. So go ahead and get into that now. Here's that rifle. As I said, it was already painted once. I don't really like the way it came out, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to work on getting rid of the all the old paint. The plastic pieces you don't really need to worry about too much. The paint will just stick right to them, but you really want to try to get it off the metal as much as you can. Basically all I do for this is I just use brake cleaner and scrubby pad or a rag, maybe a small toothbrush, something like that, to get into the small areas. And yeah, I'll go ahead and get going on this, and I'll be back when I'm done. Once you get most of the paint off, we're going to go ahead and pull out the bolt and then get it hung up and get ready to spray it down with a little bit more brake cleaner just to get any of the residual dust off. And then once that dries, we'll be ready for our first coat of base. Alright, so I went ahead and pulled the bolt out. Other than that, everything is still on the rifle itself. I know it doesn't look like it, but I did actually remove quite a bit of paint off here. So basically all I do is I take my brake cleaner and just give it a once good. Don't worry about getting it in the rifle. All it's going to do is dry up and evaporate. Once we're all done, we'll oil it back up, and everything will be fine there. Alright, so now we just wait for that to dry, and then we'll be ready for our base coat. Alright guys, we're back. Everything's dried off now. Majority of the paint has been removed. So now we're going to go ahead and start masking stuff off so we can get some paint on this thing. Really, the only thing that I ever mask off is I just stick something in the end of the barrel. In this case, I just got a piece of old t-shirt here, and I just shove it right up the end of the barrel. Really don't even need to do that because of the way that the gun is positioned, how I have it, the barrel facing down. It's not like any paint's going to actually get up in there anyway, but just as a precaution, you really don't want anything getting in your barrel at any time. So, other than that, I really don't do much of anything. I spray it down with the brake cleaner. Everything's good. The only other thing that I will do is I put a mag, an old mag, inside the mag well. That way when I'm spraying, I'm not spraying paint directly into the mag well. I did pull the bolt out, so there's nothing there. So that's more of a reason why you don't want to spray paint right in your mag well. I've seen other guys that they'll paint it without a mag in there, and I mean, if that's the way you want to do it, go for it. Just don't hang it up to do it. Lay it down flat. So we'll go ahead and I'll grab the paint and we will get started. Alright, so normally I'd start off with like a sand or a khaki color as my base coat, and then go to darker coats. But on this rifle we're going to do it a little bit different. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start with brown as my base coat, and then we'll build up from there. Basically we want to, the finished product is going to be kind of a contrast between dark and light on the final coat. So we'll go ahead and we'll get the brown on there. As far as paint, I'm just using regular old Rust-Oleum camouflage. You can get it at Walmart, Myers, basically any place that sells spray paint will carry this stuff. It's cheap, and if you mess up, you just clean it off and do it again. So we'll go ahead and we'll get the first coat on and go from there. Also, make sure you shake it up good. Alright guys, I got a pretty good base coat on there. There's still some spots that didn't get any paint or have very little paint. That's alright, we'll go ahead and we'll let it dry. And then go ahead, we'll do a second coat, And then after that, we'll bring it back over to the bench, and I'll start applying some more colors. Alright, now that the base coat's all dried up, what we're going to do next is use some of this sage green. And we're basically just going to put some stripes, and just some random blotches of this green, because then what we'll do, once that dries, we'll lay a net across it and we'll spray some other colors on top of that. So this will just kind of help break up this brown a little bit. So go ahead and do that. When you're doing this part, you really don't need it to be a solid coat. Basically just misting different parts of the rifle. Because then, like I said, once we go in, we'll put a pattern over it, and then we'll go ahead and put some more color on it, and it'll kind of fill it all in. So we'll go ahead and let that dry, and then we'll bring it over to the bench and add some more color in. It's dried off. We got our light green and the brown. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take just a standard laundry bag, lay it over it, kind of make sure that the laundry bag is touching the gun. You don't want too much space in between everything. We'll go ahead and we'll start with the dark green. What you're going to do with this is just spray the dark green over top of the light green. You don't have to do it too heavy, just kind of misting it on there. Alright, and once you're done with that, switch to the khaki. And with this, we're just going to go over all the brown. Alright, you just take off your laundry net, move it to the other end, and then you do the same thing. Just start with the green and then switch to the khaki. You just want to make sure that you're doing just real quick strokes. Like I said, you don't want to put it on too heavy, otherwise you'll just get a big blob of color. Alright. And basically just let this dry, and then once it's dry, take a look at everything, see if there's any spots you need to touch up. See a couple spots that could be touched up, but doesn't look too bad. Next thing we'll do is we'll flip it up so we can see the top of the gun, and just check the top, make sure we didn't miss any spots there. Alright, so now flipped it up, it's pretty much dried off. I noticed some spots along the top here that are still just one solid color, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the laundry net, or laundry bag, just drape it over the top, and just do the same process that I did on the sides. Go ahead and start the dark green. Really, it's just, you just put paint wherever you think there should be paint. The khaki. Ooh. Don't do what I did and knock your rifle over. Alright, looks like everything's pretty well covered now. Once everything's dried off, I'll get a couple shots of the rifle complete, and yeah, that'll be it, guys. Here's the finished product. I think it turned out pretty well. There's a couple spots that I went a little bit heavy on, but other than that, I think it turned out pretty well. I'm going to go ahead and give you just a real quick rundown of everything I did and what I used. I started off by taking off all the old paint and just getting all the oils and everything off with just regular brake cleaner. You could use mineral spirits or paint thinner, just anything that's going to break up that old paint. Once I was done with that, I did 2 base coats with just regular Rust-Oleum brown. Did a couple accent stripes with the sage green. Took it back to the bench. Used the laundry bag that I sold for my wife to do OD green on top of the sage green and khaki on top of the brown. This just kind of helps break up the solid colors, gives it more of a camouflage look. Also, when you're painting, always make sure that you put something in the mag well. I just use an old mag that I have laying around. Pretty much use it for all the painting or all the projects I do. One last thing before you should put it up is what I do is I just spray rim oil. I coat the bolt, coat the whole inside of the rifle with it. That way you don't have any issues with paint drying on the inside. But yeah, other than that, I think it turned out pretty well. Let me know what you guys think. If you have any comments, let me know. And please subscribe.